Dr. Grier, very excited. Congratulations on the Leader for Life Award. Very well deserved. So we've said this, but I'm going to say it again. First orthopedic surgeon in private practice that is a female in the state of Nebraska. Let's go. And as you can tell, she's young, and I mean that quite seriously. Like, it's sad that it's taken that long, right? I think when you said that, I was like, you're so young. And she's like, I'm not really that young. So your parents, you said that your parents told you not to let anyone tell you that you can't do anything, and that advice clearly shaped you as an adult and as a woman who is balancing an incredible career and being a wife and mother. Can you talk about their influence on you and how that shaped you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I would say I really owe everything to the way they brought myself and my siblings up. Was, if you want it, go get it. And I think that brings me to where I am today, because as a female, oh, girls don't do that, or, I was still part of my growing up, but I was no different than my brothers in what I could or couldn't do, and I think that's why I am in a field where there are more men than women, but it's growing, but that's what also makes me successful at home. And I think a big part of it too is sometimes it's not someone else telling you you can't do it. Sometimes it's your internal self telling you you can't do it. And I think that's probably a big message. Everyone thinks that to themselves. I have a 13-year-old who, I think she looks at me sometimes, she's like, well, you don't have any problems, or you didn't struggle with that, or you don't think that, but everyone does, and if you can overcome that voice, sometimes that voice is bigger than other people telling you you can't do something. So I think that's probably what they taught me too, is doesn't matter who it is, whether it's yourself or someone else, you just have to go past it.
You had said that you are who you are by the people that you've surrounded yourself with, specifically as it relates to mentorship and leadership. Can you talk a little bit more about what you mean by that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'll brag on my table over there today, but everyone there are, successful women, and then my husband's there too. Gotta give him kudos as well. But I have a pharmacist, a lawyer, a endocrinologist, a nurse practitioner, a business leader. They're all successful in what they do, and they're all successful mothers as well, raising phenomenal kids. So I guess I have a hard time seeing myself as a mentor or a leader, because I'm just among people I guess that's what we do. But I think it helps to have that group around you, so that then you're going to attract more people, whether they're younger than you because they want to learn from you or do what you do, or show them how it's done.
So this was interesting. Shelley and I were discussing this today. You're in a field where people are called doctor, and you probably have patients. I think there's examples of immediately they call you Katie. And then I was like, I call her Katie, and I don't always do that to our male doctors here, so I'm perpetuating that issue that we have. Talk a little bit about that double standard as being a female physician.
Yeah, it's every day, and sometimes I come home and vent about it, that like, why am I Katie, but he's not Joe? He's always Dr. Smith, and I don't know, maybe it's just more maternal, or people feel more comfortable with us. I don't know, but it's right on my coat, Dr. Grier. So yeah, I think there is a level of frustration. I used to just come home and vent about it, but I think as I've gotten older and wiser, maybe I've started to correct some of that, just because I mean, I and any other female physician or whoever has worked hard for where they are and to have that title, and yeah, you got to stand up for it.
Yeah, it's great. So in that vein, only 13% of orthopedic surgeons are women in our country. Can you give a couple of stories about challenges as a female in the health science field? Could you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, I have. I mean, the one I think about most of the time, like from a past perspective, was when I was applying for residencies in orthopedic surgery. This was before all of the internet. You like called places and you kind of filled out a paper form, and I called one place, and it was a female administrative person that answered the phone, and I said, "My name is Katie. I'm reaching out for an application for your residency program," and she said, "Oh, honey, don't even. We don't take any girls." So I was like, "Huh." I mean, and this was, early 2000s. I didn't think it was, so that was somewhat shocking. So I didn't waste my money there. But I would say current day, what I still see is I will be in a room with a patient. Again, my coat says Dr. Katie Grier. Here's your problem. Here's the things you can do. Here's the surgery. Here's what would be involved in the surgery. I mean, over and, we've been over it. And they'll look at me and they're like, "So you do the surgery?" I'm like, who else? I mean, that would be like you recruiting someone, or you in the huddle and telling them, like, "Here's the game plan," and they're like, "So when's the coach getting here?" Like, and maybe I'm wrong, but I just feel like I don't know that my partners get that question. My male partners get that question after they've been through a whole discussion. So again, I just take a deep breath and answer yes, that will be me.
So when you went into orthopedic surgery, you obviously knew that particular, I mean, there's lots of doctors that are females now coming out of med school, but you chose a field that is very male dominated. Did that give you pause, or were you like, "No, I'm going to go into this and
No, I don't think it gave me pause, because it was, I mean, I was sports growing up, and people think of orthopedics and you kind of think of sports a lot. So, and again, I was told to don't tell anyone you can't do something, even if you're in the minority.
So as Marcus talked about, Dr. Grier has helped many of our volleyball athletes, let alone a lot of other athletes here. You volunteer a lot of that time to help our student athletes. Talk about the passion for you to help these young people, and what caused you to get involved in Creighton athletics?
Well, if we back up to mentors, I have to give pretty much all the credit to Dr. Tim Fitzgibbons, who's here in the audience. He was my partner in practice, and he had this role for a long time. Our practice has had that role for a long time, but he took me under his wing, and that's why I'm where I am from that perspective as far as my involvement in Creighton. But some of it is, I love sports, so gosh, what a greater opportunity than to be able to do what I love and help these athletes and still participate in sports, sort of, even though I'm not out there. And then selfishly, it's also my kids get to see some really great role models. So I would say selfishly that's part of it as well. They get to be around some really, really great student athletes, and I hope that makes a difference for them going forward too.
All right, last question. Do you have any wise words for the women sitting here as they maybe embark on some careers that is a different path of many?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I would just reiterate kind of what I've already said. Don't let anyone tell you you can't can't do something, even yourself. I will, I had it in my head also to copy it, or not copy, but to say what Wendy said is, be a mentor, be willing to bring someone under your wing and show them how to get there and how to get further than you.
Awesome. Congratulations on
Thank
on
you.
being a leader for life.
Thank you.